carpet, you flyboy!
This is a rebellion, isn't it?
I call it aggressive negotiations.
The garbage will do!
Welcome to this month's Trash Compactor podcast, Star Wars from the Female Perspective. I'm MC, and I'm here with...
Roane.
This month we're talking about Star Wars Celebration. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about what is, I think, the highlight of the convention, and that's the trailer for The Last Jedi.
Oh my god. That trailer was like more than I hoped it would be, honestly.
Yeah.
I really, because I watched the panel live. I didn't watch all of Celebration yet. Bad me. God, I haven't even watched Mark Hamill's panel. I'm such a failure. But I did watch the Last Jedi panel, and so I saw the trailer live, and I was thinking, because they toyed with us so much about Mark not having any lines in the last movie, I thought we wouldn't hear
They were going to hold back on it?
Yeah, I did. And like the very first word, when he goes, breathe, I'm like, oh, thank God you reminded me, because I would have forgotten.
Yeah, and then he just talks for the entire trailer.
He narrated the entire trailer. I was so happy.
It's like, I think Luke's going to have lines this time.
Yay! It's the best thing. I'm so excited. So there was that. That was like super, super, super exciting. Like I couldn't stand it. I was so excited.
I mean, there's it's weird, like, because I mean, this is a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But there is so much stuff in it, and I think there's so much, but so little of so much. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was all very, very tantalizing.
Yes.
I mean, there is. I've seen people already fighting over like what things mean, and I'm like, there is no way to tell what anything means in this trailer.
The Scar discourse is
the
strong.
Scar discourse has been, I saw some of the Scar discourse. A lot of people were very upset about Luke's last line in the trailer, where he says it's time for the Jedi to end, which that had me pumping my fist, because I'm like, oh, they're going to do something really cool with this.
I did mention in the main discussion that I've started a YouTube channel, and one of the videos I have done so far is analyzing that line, because that's a big line, and there's a lot of theories that could come up from that, and I had very specific ones, so
we'll have to post a link to that since it's related. I mean, my personal theory, given how Rebels has been going, especially with bringing in the Bendu and all of that, I really think they are looking at like this third way that isn't Jedi or Sith, light side or dark side. And I think Luke has basically realized that the Jedi Order was going about things not possibly the best way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this sequel trilogy is establishing that there is more than just, Jedi or Sith. Because, right. I mean, even just with the dark side, there's the Knights of Ren who are... They've said very specifically, these are not the Sith. They are the Knights of Ren, which is a completely different thing.
Right, and we don't even know what Snoke is. I mean,
we have some hints, but, nothing very, definitive. But yeah, I mean, I think that if there's different factions on the dark side, there's got to be different factions on the light side.
Right. Well, and we already know that there are, because, I mean, there is the Church of the Force, which we don't know a lot about yet.
Yeah.
There are the Guardians of the Whills that we now know from Rogue One.
Yay!
So yeah, there's lots of places to go, and I get that people are really upset, and it's generally people who have been upset with the sequel trilogy as a whole so far.
Yeah.
Who are really afraid that they're going to do something terrible with Luke, but I don't see it. I mean, I'm hopelessly optimistic. I have been all along. But I was very excited by the Luke that we saw in the trailer. He seems older and wiser, but still Luke.
Yeah. And I know there was also some criticism about the lack of Finn in the
Yes.
trailer, but for me, that was just a matter of, well, Finn was in this, had this horrific injury at the end of the last movie, and I think that they don't want to just come out and say, hey, he's going to be perfectly fine, like, right at the jump for this one. So they kind of want to play coy as to what exactly his condition's going to be.
And, I mean, we kind of know he's going to be perfectly fine because,
well, yeah, but
you
they
know,
don't want to,
Finn,
like, come out and just say it.
Right. It's a teaser. It's, you know, look,
yeah, because,
here...
I mean, the thing is, it's like he could be fine as in, yeah, he's alive, but maybe different somehow, because, I mean, like, in the, you know, original trilogy, they cut off Luke's fucking hand.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, I know someone has screen capped him in the recovery bed or whatever, and apparently the Arabesh says stable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard that some of the Arabesh is just completely gibberish.
Somebody said that the Arabesh near his bed said stable.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I don't know what that means. Stable isn't necessarily good. It just means not changing. Mm-hmm.
So this trailer not only has, you know, they showed it at Celebration and it's been online and it has gotten millions and millions of views, but it is now in theaters. They started showing it yesterday on Guardians, you know, coincidentally enough, on May the 4th. They're showing it before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I saw. And I saw it in IMAX, so I got to see the Last Jedi trailer in IMAX. It looks good. It looks better than Rogue One in 3D. Because Rogue One I did not think looked good in 3D. And I think that's because they were going for a retro feel with the filming of it. I don't think that it suited the 3D.
Yeah.
But The Last Jedi looks a lot better than that, just based on the trailer. But as I was saying right before we got on mic, and Roane was like, well, we should be recording this.
We always do that.
Yeah. The thing that I found even more interesting than watching it was hearing it, because hearing, you know, like the huge movie theater sound, I was able to hear more than I was on my computer screen.
Yeah.
When I first saw the trailer, during the part when Rey is having her like little visions, I was certain that I had heard Leia say, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi," and seeing it in theaters, they definitely had that little sound clip in there. And during the bit when she's talking about the dark side and you see Kylo Ren's mask, and it's totally Kylo Ren's mask. I know there was debate as to whether or not it was Kylo Ren's mask or Darth Vader's, but it's Kylo Ren's. Yeah. You hear Darth Vader's breathing, and this part I'm a little fuzzier on, but I'm pretty sure you hear the Emperor.
Oh, yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah, I think it's a line of the Emperor from Return of the Jedi when he's taunting Luke.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
Yeah, so, I mean, that also kind of plays into the whole... I totally think Kylo Ren's going to start his redemption arc in this movie. So...
we will see.
Yes.
In just a few months.
Well... what is it now? Okay, so it's May 5th now. So it's
7 months and 10 days.
7 months, yeah. Wow.
It's very exciting.
Yes. But we got to see bits from, I think, everybody in this trailer. Oh, not almost everybody.
We didn't get to see Rose.
We didn't get to see Rose, but we did get to see, like, a picture of Rose at the Celebration panel. We didn't see Chewie or the droids. Well, other than BB-8. We did see BB-8 and Poe running. Poor Poe's X-Wings. He has, like, the worst luck with X-Wings.
He looked like he was having a bad day, man. He just... So, did I imagine things, or did we see Phasma in the trailer, too?
We did see Phasma.
Yay! She's back.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I suspect that we are going to be getting a lot more of Phasma. Because they're actually doing a Phasma book and comic.
That's true,
so
they are.
They're going to be... they're trying to make Phasma more of a character and not just a cool bit of armor.
Excellent.
Which, granted, she is cool armor. Which that is one thing. Anybody who's checking out Celebration, you can see they did like a costume contest, and somebody did like Phasma armor, and it's fucking amazing.
Wow.
So I think you should watch it. And it is actually a woman wearing the costume, and she's like tall enough. Like the whole reason why she did the costume is because
She's as
Phasma's
tall as Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes. Yeah, it was some pretty amazing armor, and apparently she couldn't sit down while wearing it.
Oh, man.
I always find funny. I'm a big costumer, so I always geek out over things like that.
And there are some great ones at Celebration. I was, just watching the live stream, watching people walk past. It's like, wow.
There is a post that is going around on Tumblr of a little girl who dressed as Jin, and
Yes.
she had Death Star plans, and for every Princess Leia she ran into, she gave copies of this plan.
I know.
And
then she left a copy at the dress that Carrie was wearing in A New Hope.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, she left one there with a rose.
Oh God, my heart.
Yeah, I know. My favorite picture, and I've only seen it once or twice, is actually her with an older woman who's cosplaying a TFA Leia.
Aww.
I think it doesn't get included as much because she's not in costume there.
Yeah.
But she still has her Death Star plans, and she's still giving it to this Leia, which I think is awesome.
Oh, we'll definitely have to find a link to that because that post is so good. Apparently, that little girl is just like the sweetest thing at the convention.
And it sounds like she cosplayed Rey last time, and like her dad makes all of her costumes. And
yeah. The week after Celebration, I went to Costume Con, and I saw the little girl dressed as Rey, and it brought a tear to my eye to see a little girl dressed as Rey.
Aww.
Because and just how excited she was to be dressed as Rey, and I feel like this is the one thing that people don't really get when they're being shitty about, Rey's a Mary Sue, or why do we have to have more female characters in Star Wars. These little girls get to dress up as awesome characters. Before this, all they had was Leia, and Leia is a pretty awesome character, but there needs to be more variety. And this is why I think that Star Wars needs to go farther and have characters that are not just white brunettes.
Yeah. Here's hoping.
But yes, anyways, so Star Wars Celebration, we're going to be talking that in the main discussion with somebody who was actually there. So,
ooh.
Yeah.
I heard some of her stories while she was actually there. We were in a chat group together, and so she was telling us stories about being in line, and so that'll be fun to listen to.
Yes, and we will hear all of them on the podcast.
Time for the news?
Time for the news. This is MC, and this is what's happening in the galaxy. Rumors are circulating that Mr. Robot creator Sam Esmail is lined up to write the Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone film that is rumored to be the third anthology movie. Disney has released a slate of movie release dates up until 2020. On the slate are the Han Solo movie on May 25th, 2018, Episode 9 on May 24th, 2019, and Indiana Jones 5 November 7th, 2020. No word yet on when the third anthology movie will be released. Rian Johnson revealed he asked J.J. Abrams to change the ending of The Force Awakens slightly. In the original draft, BB-8 accompanied Rey to Acto, but he wanted R2-D2 to come instead. He has not revealed the reason for this. Kathleen Kennedy has revealed the team behind Episode 9 has basically started from scratch on the script following Carrie Fisher's death. Early reports had said Carrie Fisher would still be featured in the movie, but Lucasfilm has corrected these reports, saying Princess Leia will not appear, and the script is being updated to reflect that. The Scum and Villainy Cantina, a pop-up drinking establishment based on Chalmun's Cantina, will be sticking around Hollywood a bit longer. It will be remaining around through June. Tickets are going fast and range in price. Check out their Facebook for more details. Star Wars Rebels' fourth and final season has been announced for fall 2017. The season will feature the return of Saw Gerrera and cover how his relationship with the rebellion breaks apart prior to Rogue One. Celebrities from all over the Twitterverse tweeted about May the 4th. Entertainment Weekly has compiled some of the best. But one of our favorites was from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He again showed that he is one of the coolest world leaders, tweeting, "These are the socks you're looking for," with a picture of him wearing R2-D2 and C-3PO socks. Mark Hamill made a surprise visit to Jimmy Kimmel Live, surprising actor and Star Wars fan Adam Scott. As a child, Scott had invited Hamill to his birthday party, and Hamill showed up on the show to apologize for not showing up and to wish Scott a very belated happy birthday. That's all for the Trash Compactor news. Links to more information on the stories we've reported on can be found in the show notes. If you have any tips, email us at thetrashcompactorpodcast@gmail.com. There is little doubt Star Wars would not exist without this woman working on it. She was once called George Lucas's secret weapon. Marcia Lou Griffin was born October 4th, 1945 in Modesto, California. Her military family moved around constantly, and her mother eventually left her husband, taking Marcia and her daughters to live in northern Hollywood. The family scraped by on very little, but were loving and supportive. Instead of going to college, Marcia worked to support her mother and went to school at night. She received a job as an apprentice film librarian at the Sandler Film Library. It was here she would learn the skills as an editor, eventually rising to assistant editor. She faced a great deal of sexism from an industry that did not want women working behind the scenes, but she loved the work. Verna Fields, a respected editor, hired Marcia in 1967 to edit a documentary on Lyndon Johnson's trip to the Far East. Fields had also hired several film school graduates, including George Lucas. Marcia and George began to date. The outgoing Marcia brought George out of his shell. He respected her tenacity and skills as an editor. They began to work together, editing George's projects. The pair married February 22, 1969. It was Marcia who supported George after THX 1138 bombed. They continued on, and Marcia edited American Graffiti in the spare room over Francis Ford Coppola's garage with Verna Fields and George. The film would be a success, and Lucas was nominated for her first Oscar for editing. She would go on to work on Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Taxi Driver, and New York, New York. While Marcia was editing, George would begin to write his space epic. She stayed out of his way during the writing process, but was one of the first people to read the first draft, which she initially found to be bizarre. She was cited as one of the few people who George would listen to in terms of criticism. She would never back down from telling him what didn't work, but always supported him. Mark Hamill would later call her the warmth and heart of the Star Wars movies. The first edit of Star Wars, handled by John Jimson, was a disaster, dull and gutting the energy George wanted from the movie. He fired Jimson and hired Marcia, who started over from scratch with Paul Hirsch and Richard Chew. They would edit what would become the movie we now know and love today. The trio would win an Oscar for their efforts, one of only 7 the Star Wars franchise has won. After the release of Star Wars, Marcia would turn down work, wanting to settle down and start a family. George would be consumed by Lucasfilm. Marcia would do uncredited work on The Empire Strikes Back, but her contribution was not the same as it was for the previous film. In 1981, Marcia finally got the family she desired when she and George adopted their daughter Amanda. But the marriage of the Lucases was growing distant, with George's devotion to work consuming him. He hired Marcia to work on Return of the Jedi, but those around them could see the cracks in their marriage. By the release of Return of the Jedi, Marcia and George divorced. After the divorce, Marcia disappeared from the public. She turned down many offers to edit and direct movies. She married and divorced once more to Tom Rodriguez, with whom she had a second child, Amy. Marcia has shied away from interviews. For years, her contribution to Star Wars was downplayed, but new behind-the-scenes books and biographies are now reminding people of her importance. The University of Southern California has commemorated her with the Marcia Lucas Post-Production Building. And welcome to this month's discussion. We're talking about Star Wars Celebration, which happened in Orlando April 13th to 16th. I'm MC, and I'm here with...
Mneme Hoshiko.
So, you were actually at Star Wars Celebration, unlike millions of people like me who are just watching it on YouTube.
That may have been a good thing. Your back is actually in good state as opposed to mine, which I think may still not have forgiven me.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So, we definitely do have some different experiences when it came to Celebration. So.
Yeah, so actually, I was on your side last year, actually, because I had a friend who went to Celebration London, but I was very much watching at home in my pajamas, so...
Yeah, I basically watched, I think, the entire thing. I either watched it live or I went back and went through and watched the panels afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get to savor them in, like, the warmth of your home without, like, 700. I think the final number was, like, 75,000 people breathing in the same air, which...
Ooh.
Yeah. But it definitely was an experience. Not the most organized of experiences. I was actually surprised because I've gone to Comic-Con once, so I thought it would have been more organized in line with that. And no, they I feel like they distinctly underestimated the amount of people who are going to turn up. As well as the I don't want to say fanatical dedication, but dedication of the fans. So originally they had to guarantee entrance into the room. They had sleepover nights, so in theory you were supposed to line up at 8 p.m. Yeah. And then around 8 p.m. they let you in. You get in through security. You lie down and basically reflect on your poor life choices. Alternatively, you could get there at 5 a.m. instead.
Yeah.
So I went with a bunch of friends who are also Star Wars fans, obviously. And we decided to get there because we were law-abiding citizens on the first night. So we got there Wednesday night around 8:10. And the line was already wrapped around the convention center, like, heading into the highway.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were like, because we honestly thought, like, people were going to, like, actively dissuading people from, like, lining up early, which is, like, what you normally do when you say, like, no lining up till X time. No such dissuading had been occurring, obviously.
Yeah.
So we got in line, and we got there, and we got inside, thankfully. It was kind of a madhouse. Basically, they had I think around 6 different security booth metal detector thingies that you were supposed to go through and get your bag checked and so forth. Usually, I would think, like, they would have a more airport-style setup, so, like, you would have, like, well-defined lines. No. It was basically a mass of people.
Yeah. I did just look it up. It looks like there was 70,000 people there this year.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't 75,000. That makes me feel slightly better. There are 5,000 people whose germs I did not get.
Well, it said over 70,000 people, so who knows where their line is.
But yeah, it was pretty intense. But once you got inside and got in line, it was a little calmer. For the 40th anniversary panel, let's see what happened that night. Ray Park showed up, which was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he was supposed to be signing and taking pictures of things,
but he was doing it anyway.
But he was doing it. He was actually really chilled. I had never met him, so I was like, oh, this is cool. So now I have the ability to tell people I met Darth Maul, which...
Yeah, I did watch his panel with Warwick Davis, and he's adorkable. Like, I mean, like, Darth Maul is so, really, like, freaky and everything, but he's just like, at one point I, wanted to be, a record DJ. I thought that would be fun.
Yeah, I was really surprised by just, like, how open people were, even, like, the people involved with the making of Star Wars. Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay. this is cool. You're taking this a lot better than I would have. So yeah, he showed up randomly, and then he was taken away on a trolley thingy because he had places to be in actually like a nice hotel as opposed to concrete, which we had. And then so usually for the sleepovers, basically you got in at 8, and basically they closed everything down at midnight. So basically once midnight you couldn't get out. So the first night at 1 a.m. Either they misscheduled or something, but I think it was DJ Elliott or someone decided to come in and decide to try and start a rave.
Huh.
That did not go over well.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No. I so like sleeping on concrete, for those who have never done it before, is sort of an art form. Even if you have a blanket, concrete is really fucking hard. So like by that point, after like an hour, I had sort of like convinced myself into like sleep is happening. Come on. I had like entered a light doze, and then this like turn down the what, it starts blaring in the background. We're like, what? So originally everyone's thinking like, oh, did someone show up? Did someone cool show up? No, it's someone who decided to like start a rave. Or we're like, please stop, we will murder. Like if you had looked on Twitter during that time period, for anyone who was in that room, basically was like, I will pay money if you stop playing music, please. So like after I think 15 minutes, they kind of got the picture that no one was really interested in raving at that point. So they very kindly stopped. But it's actually kind of, the first day was kind of a mess though, because evidently I think there was miscommunication with the crew people, because they let some of the people who had gotten at 5 a.m. in before some of the people who were there overnight. So, yeah. So there were like a lot of not happy people.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, and there were some people who had to leave at 5 a.m. to either go back to their hotel or like switch to hotels or something. But they had gotten their wristbands, but when they wanted to get back into the convention center, they couldn't get back in spite of the fact that so I feel if the people who did the convention, I think it was Reed Pop, did it again, I would honestly say have a better system for determining which people slept over, at least have a more like speed lane or something to like validate the fact that yes, I was here all night. I just went because hotels have rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the 40th anniversary panel.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah,
the 40th anniversary panel, that was kind of the first thing that really happened at the con. If I'm right, the first major thing.
Yep.
So huge panel about the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, and I think people were like super shocked at like everything that happened at this panel, because you had George Lucas was there talking about Star Wars, and
it's like he showed up from his cave. Wow.
Yeah, and even more surprising, Harrison Ford came.
Yeah, so I didn't realize until later on that Harrison Ford never shows up to these things.
Oh no, no, never.
Kind of like notorious for that. He's like, oh God, you actually showed up. It's like, wow, this is saying something. But honestly, it was kind of a credit to the fans that, not credit to the fans, but credit to Star Wars itself, that so many people were willing to come back and be like, hi, yes, we were in Star Wars, hi, we love you, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Ford's kind of just like, I have no idea who all you weirdos are. And also seeing Billy Lord's thing
tribute.
At the end, tribute at the end was really touching as well. It's just really sad, but also just really, Carrie would be really proud.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't seen all of Billy's speech, because the live stream actually, like,
I heard it cut off or something.
Yeah,
I heard about that. I felt really bad because I remember watching the London stream and it was like smooth as I don't know what. It was like so I think just all around the way the convention was held this time was, I think, honestly a downgrade from London. I don't know if it was due to the amount of people or what exactly happened.
Yeah, well, I would think that the people who are actually working the con might change, depending on where they are. Because you need to have, there'll be a convention center people or whatever that are working things. So yeah, I'm thinking that it's just, something like Star Wars Celebration is a different kind of convention than particularly the ones that I go to. I go to fan run cons.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I would suppose if you're going to like your San Diego, that's probably more in line with this, but I was trying to explain it to my dad when I was like, "Oh, I'm watching Star Wars Celebration." He's like, "Why? What are you like? How is this a thing?" And and I'm like, "Well, it's a trade show for Star Wars." And he's like, "Oh, okay," like because he works in the camera industry, and he understands what a trade show is, where they're, you go and you like sell your camera stuff, and they have demonstrations and everything. And so he kind of understood. It's like Lucasfilms is holding a Star Wars trade show, So.
Yeah, I feel like at least at his trade shows, though, they don't run out of merchandise.
Oh my God, they did?
Okay, so,
I assume exclusives, yeah.
Yeah, they're exclusives, but when I say it was really disorganized, it was super, super disorganized. So, they had the Celebration store, so the convention store.
Yeah.
I had friends who decided to go right after the 40th anniversary panel.
Yeah.
They were in line for 5 hours.
Oh, God.
Just to get, like, from when they left us to get into the store and get out. And just every single day, like, I finally got into the store on the last day because I was like, I promised my friend I would get her a shirt. And I was like, I got there at like 5, I got to the convention center at like 5:30 a.m. To get onto the floor, which opened at 10 a.m. To get into a line for a Lightspeed lane. They had the general line and like the Lightspeed lane line, so you could like, general line was like you got in once the line moved forward. Lightspeed line was basically, hi, they gave you a ticket, you can come back at like X o'clock.
Okay.
So I got to the convention. This is the last day of the convention. I got to the convention center at 5:30 a.m., got into the convention proper a little later. We waited in line. There was lots of waiting in line.
Yeah.
Till 10 a.m., in which then we booked it across the floor to get, because the celebration service place, of course, on the other side of the event hall, not event hall, but like main floor where all the other stores and other places are, like Funko and so forth. To get into the Lightspeed lane solely so I could get a ticket to get into the store at like 11:20. Yes. I did get my friend her shirt.
Very cool.
And I got myself a bag and a few other things to validate my standing in line for so long. But
yeah.
It was a lot of lines.
Yeah, sounds like it. So back on to the Star Wars 40th anniversary panel. So actually, I'm trying to actually think of the 40th anniversary panel, but for the most part, it was somebody comes out and for like 3 or 4 minutes, been like, yeah, I was in Star Wars. That was the thing that happened.
Yep. It was sort of like trotting out all the key figures across the trilogies that they could get to show up.
Yeah.
One of the big things, Harrison Ford showed up, but also Hayden Christensen also showed up, which also was a big thing. I felt
it's not a big deal for me. I see him lined up for coffee. Hayden Christensen lives in my hometown.
Oh, God. Does he look Does he seem normally chill? He looked very confused being there when we saw him.
He seems pretty chill. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why he chooses to live here in the middle of nowhere.
That can do it.
Yeah.
Yes, but evidently, Lucasfilms and Disney managed to convince him to somehow leave his farm in Canada to come here, which we're entirely grateful for. I felt a little bad afterwards for not splurging on a photo op, but
yeah. Well, it came up at the very last minute.
It was at the very last minute, and also the scheduling was kind of wonky because I think it was originally like scheduled during I think Carrie Fisher's memorial panel originally, and then they had they had to reschedule things and so forth. I feel the scheduling was also not. They had a celebration app and stuff, but just conveying information of like, hi, these things have been changed was not the most efficient way. But no, he very gracefully he showed up, and he was very sweet and everything. As me and a friend called it, basically the whole entire 40th anniversary panel was basically everyone lovingly dragging George Lucas for his non-existent dialogue writing skills.
Yeah, that is very, very true. It very much, I think served as almost an opening ceremonies. Yeah, because if I go to like Gallifrey 1, which is the big Doctor Who con in Los Angeles, they'll have like this convention's starting off, and here are the guests that are actually here. We're gonna trot them out on stage, just to gear everybody up for the actual con, and that's kind of the feeling that I got from this, where it's like everybody comes out for a minute or two, and it's like, this weekend's gonna be awesome. You're all waiting for the Last Jedi panel, aren't you?
It's like you all know why we're here.
Yeah,
but no, it was good. It was good. I was kind of surprised how spry Ian McDermott, I think that's his name, Palpatine.
Yes.
Looks. I'm just like, you're like old now, aren't you? Why do you look like you like bathe in like the blood of elves or something? You're way too cheery for your age.
Well, I mean, how old is he? Because I mean, like, he was not that old when he. I mean, we think of him as being like super, super old because back in 1983 he looked like an old man, but most of that was makeup. So
he is 72 according to Google.
Okay, I mean that's pretty old, but
yeah. Sometimes people age well, sometimes people don't, and he made some type of deal to like win out on the aging. He was evidently only 37 at the time when he played Palpatine. Really? Yeah. Huh. That's actually rather fascinating. But yeah, it was interesting seeing Billy D. Williams as well. We actually went to his panel that he had later on that day.
Smooth Talking with Billy D. Williams, I think it was called.
He was very chill.
Yeah.
Like kind of ridiculously chill. I'm like, how are you so chill? But yeah, the 40th anniversary panel was. It sounds horrible to say, but I feel like kind of like the highlight of the convention panel wise.
Yeah.
yeah, because I also got into the Last Jedi panel, which was more sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, I would think.
But I felt like the Last Jedi panel was kind of limited how much information they could give us.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, you have, like, one person on stage that's actually knows what they're able to say, and then all of these people who are really scared that they're going to break their NDAs.
Pretty much. I was happy that they finally released Kelly Marie Tran's name, though. I was super happy.
I was really glad about that, and that we got a picture of Kelly Marie Tran.
We got like her actual face, and like exciting.
And we did get a trailer. That was something that we didn't have before.
We did get a trailer, or as I put it, we got a lot of things with Luke talking in the background to tell everyone that, yes, he does talk in the movie. With a lot of thematically dramatic scenes that don't really tell us anything, because that would be, like, too kind.
Well, yeah. It's a trailer, though. And it's the first trailer. I mean, I think they actually called it a teaser trailer.
Yeah, they said it was a teaser trailer. So.
And for those listeners who don't know, I've actually got a YouTube channel now.
Ooh.
Hey. And one of the things I've done is I've broken down the new Star Wars trailer. So we will have a link to that in the show notes so everybody can hear me talk about, what the Jedi need to end means.
Oh God, I knew it was coming, but I was honestly impressed, like how quickly fandom went from like 0 to like 9,000 immediately after the trailer dropped. It's like, oh my God, this movie's going to be awful versus, oh my God, how can you get rid of the Jedi? And I'm just like, y'all, it was a teaser trailer. We don't know anything. Like, the movie comes out in like 8 months. Find some chill. Please find some chill. Fandom still has no chill.
Oh yeah, fandom never has any chill. I mean, chilling the trailer. I mean, it's a really good thing because, well, I mean, at least on the live stream, they always had something to show rather than the shots of the crowd. They were always like, "Now let's show the trailer again." So I think over the weekend I saw it like 20 times just because of the live stream.
Yeah, there was lots of so I actually constrained myself. I only watched it twice, mainly because once I got back, I kind of passed out.
Mm-hmm. Other than those, there were a couple of other things. They also had Dave Filoni from the animated shows, and he came out and was talking. I did not watch all of his thing. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately the way they did the live stream is they didn't show any of the pictures that he was talking about.
Oh. So
it was very, very confusing.
Ah.
I of course have later on gone back to look at some of the pictures that he was talking about, and essentially they have revealed that Rex on Rebels, the theory we had talked about during our Rebels episode, that he is Gramps from Return of the Jedi. They've basically confirmed that.
Okay.
Except not really. They have. they had a picture of him done up like the guy from Return of the Jedi, and Filoni was like, "Who put that in there?"
Ah.
Yeah.
Dramatic, semi-dramatic, slightly, maybe not. We never know.
Yeah. And then they also did have on Sunday, they had the Rebels panel, which they talked about,
Rebels.
They talked about Rebels. They talked about the season that has just finished, and the next season coming up, which it's just the last one, yes. And everyone is very sad because Rebels is so goddamn good.
It's on my list of things to watch. I'm currently working my way through Clone Wars.
But I would actually recommend, don't kill me, fans of Clone Wars, but skip to Rebels. Because Clone Wars is a little long for me.
Yeah.
I don't know where you actually are in it.
I am finally finishing up season 1. I'm also I'm mod of a fanfic anthology, so I usually watched it while I was doing editing for fanfics.
Okay. Yeah. Because I had started watching Clone Wars myself, and then Rebels the season 3 was going to be coming out. And Roane was like, skip ahead to Rebels. So I skipped ahead to Rebels, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking good.
So I've only seen 2 episodes of Rebels that were, because they had I was flying from North Carolina to California, and they had it on the plane as something to watch. So I've watched the episode with Princess Leia.
Okay. Yeah. Which
is a good episode. But I'm one of those people who is also very much like, I must maintain order.
Okay.
So I'm like,
fair enough.
No, I must watch all the background information. This is also why it's really sad that they have all these tie-ins for Star Wars now, because I'm like, oh, I actually have a chance of catching up on the EU, unlike the Legends EU, in which I kind of gave up.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am with the current expanded universe, because there's just so much in the old one.
There were parts of it I liked, but I am happy we have a new rebooted EU. I do miss parts of the EU the old EU, primarily Mara Jade, because I was that person, but that was the main reason why I was invested in Star Wars in like all the Dark Ages when like, there was no new Star Wars. But now that there's a new EU, I can actually like read everything because it's still coming out as we go along. Speaking about the new EU, they came out with the information at Celebration that Phasma is getting a comic and a book.
Awesome. I had actually think I had heard that briefly, but I think like I hadn't quite registered it yet. But yes, more on Phasma, which is really good because we know like nothing about Phasma.
I'm excited because she's like the only other member of the First Order I care about other than Kylo. So it's like, yes, more Phasma. There was actually they also had a really awesome Phasma cosplayer at ThinkGeek. I was so excited.
Something else that happened at Celebration, they did have their costume contest, which, as a costumer, that was very interesting for me to watch. I was actually talking about it on my Facebook, where the first message was like, oh my god, you guys, I know some of you aren't interested in Star Wars, but they're actually like live streaming like the Masquerade first Star Wars Celebration, so check it out.
So what exactly? So I didn't pay attention to the streaming schedule because I didn't need to. But what exactly did they decide to stream? How did they decide what to stream? Was it mainly like
It was mainly the main stage.
Okay.
And then they would do like the main stage, and then in between that kind of stuff, they would have like smaller interviews with. They did interviews with like Steve Sansweet, who was it Ranch Obi-Wan, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I know him from like 20 years ago when he was just like head of all merchandising for Star Wars because he has a massive Star Wars collection. Mm-hmm. And various. They did an interview with like Hayden Christensen. I guess they had like a Millennium Falcon set up, and so they were interviewing people at the game table.
Yep. Which
is where we got Hayden quoting the whole sand lines, which was adorable, and I'll have to link to it in the show notes because he I mean, I actually like Hayden Christensen quite a bit. I think the prequels were not kind to anybody.
The prequels on, I think I remember reading an analysis on Tumblr because once again I have no life. Basically talking about the contrast between like American trained actors versus lots of the British stage actors who like usually are doing like stage dialogue and stuff like Shakespeare. It's really hard to like make sound convincing unless you have like a stage background. And lots of the dialogue in Shakespeare is honestly ridiculous. Consequently, George Lucas has allusions towards being Shakespeare at times with the uniqueness of his dialogue. So if you're like an actor who's like used to having like actual dialogue or has the nerve, i.e. like Carrie Fisher, to basically go, this dialogue is ridiculous, I'm going to like fix this because this needs help. You're gonna kind of flounder, especially when you're a novice actor, which in many cases, especially in Hayden's case, that was very much not exactly like a well-established long career actor per se. Yeah, well, I mean, he had done quite a few things beforehand, and though a lot of it was very independent work. So it wasn't somebody like Ewan McGregor, who for like I'd say the 5 years before had done some movies that had a lot of visibility, particularly with the audience that would kind of get into be into Star Wars, because he did, Train Spotting and other things. So he was a known quantity. Meanwhile, Hayden Christensen, he did like Canadian teen dramas type thing. I'm not. Yeah, he did TV. He did a couple of Canadian shows, and then he did, I think, a movie with Kevin Kline, if I remember correctly. Okay. And he was quite good in it. And actually, in terms of Hayden's Star Wars work, I think in Revenge of the Sith he's actually acting better than everyone else.
I really think Natalie Portman and Ewan McGregor were just so tired of doing Star Wars.
I mean, with Natalie Portman, it was just kind of like she didn't have a lot to do in Return of the Sith, unfortunately, from what we got in the movie. It was sort of like, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, she's back again, trying to get Anakin to, like, not do this.
Yeah.
Now she's dead because, for some reason, they don't have proper prenatal care in the Star Wars universe, but they have robots.
Yeah. But yeah, he has ridiculous lines, but I actually thought he did a very good job at delivering them. So that's my little tangent on Hayden Christensen. But yeah, just saying that he was very game to poke fun at himself at Celebration, and they did show that on the live stream, and they would bounce between the main stage and little things.
Okay.
So, but they showed all of the main stuff, and then after the day had actually finished, you could go back onto the onto the channel, and they would like split up all the live stream into the individual panels.
Oh, okay.
Which made it very convenient to actually go back and watch things, because I did miss some things, and it's like, oh shit, I want to see whatever.
This particular thing happened. Yeah. So for the Last Jedi panel, did they show Ryan's photos for that?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
I mean, I guess they had figured it out after they did Filoni's panel.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Last Jedi panel, they did everything for it.
Okay.
And it was very much appreciated, because even though they couldn't really say a lot, I liked what we got.
Mm-hmm.
I liked getting information about Kelly Marie Tran, and I liked seeing Ryan Johnson's pictures.
Mm-hmm. I think those were really nice to touch, because you also got to see pictures of Carrie Fisher, and also by virtue of him being the director, he can take pictures on set and no one's going to mug him.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And I was like, oh, there's blank and blank in the same scene. Huh. I wonder what that's going to be. So I was like, oh, this is like more of a teaser type thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we did have Mark Hamill's tribute to Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
Which I have not watched all of yet. I've watched part of it. But I get very emotional with just everything Carrie. Mm-hmm. And so I was actually making dinner at the time that it was on, so I was hearing it in the background. And so occasionally I'd wander in there, and then I'd see Mark choking up, and I'm like, I gotta go back, and the dinner needs to be worked on. Just I didn't go to that panel, but whenever they had like the Carrie parts during like the Last Jedi panel, my friends who I was sitting with, it was kind of raining on their face in some cases. Yeah. Yeah, and they had the Carrie Fisher tribute video, the one that was cut together to Rebel Rebel by David Bowie.
Oh, okay, that was the 40th. That was during the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, they showed it a couple of times over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I can't watch that without bawling. The first time I watched it, I was like, it's raining in here, and it's raining on my face. And then, the third time I watched it, and I'm still just like bawling. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm crying. That's, it's very emotional. I don't know when it will ever stop being emotional. But yeah, Mark was showing videos during his panel. Mm-hmm. He of course talked about Carrie, but then he also showed videos. Some like Warwick Davis has a ton of videos from various things. He also had a panel. Warwick, he kind of serves as like de facto host.
Sort of like seriously master of ceremonies during the whole entire thing.
Yeah, but he had his own panel, Small Talk with Warwick Davis.
Yep.
He's and he ended up showing stuff from Return of the Ewok, I think is what he called it.
Ah.
Yeah, his little documentary that he never finished when he was 11. But it's very cute. And you get to see, Carrie dressed up in the gold bikini and him at like 11 years old.
Yep.
And I always forget that Warwick Davis, he was a kid when he played Wicket. There's so much stuff that we could talk about for Celebration. But then also it's like, yeah, that's something that happened. Yeah.
I mean, I am looking currently at my notes that I have from Celebration because I do have a few notes, and most of it consists of concrete is hard. This poster is super cool, though. I need a nap and I need a shower. Yeah, like the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, were I basically right after the 40th anniversary panel, I briefly popped back to the Airbnb that me and my friends were at, and changed my shirt and just came back because we had talked to the crew people there and we're like, so what is the lineup procedure for tonight? Is it going to be the same as it was yesterday, i.e. you're not going to do anything, or have you instructed to have rules and stuff? And the first one was like, the official word is what we have on the site. I was like, that's not helpful. And then we found another one who was like, yeah, they've not made any changes in procedure or anything. And they're like, cool. So we promptly just got back in line at 3 p.m. to get into the Last Jedi panel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I am never, ever gonna end up going to this convention. I just don't think I can deal with it.
So other than the long standing in lines, because that was my week consisted of, it wasn't that bad. The fans actually were really chill and respectful in spite of everything. The cosplayers were amazing and very open and just general everyone's here for Star Wars type of thing.
Yeah.
Other than it didn't feel super crowded unless you were in a line, which was nice.
Okay.
But the problem was, I decided I really wanted to get into the panels because I had never gone to Celebration before, and I was like, I'm going to get into the panel for The Last Jedi because I want a reason for flying all the way to Orlando. So that is what I chose to do. But there was lots of things to do if you hadn't decided not to get in line for the big panels.
Yeah.
And things like that. And Saturday I actually decided not to do any panels because I was sick of standing in line and just walked around. I went to Del Rey because they had a booth and bought too many books. I actually have a really cute bag that says your lack of books is disturbing.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Because I spent too much money at Del Rey. So because one of the reasons I really wanted to go to Celebration was because they're going to have a Celebration copy of the Thrawn book.
Oh, yeah, I need to get a copy of the Thrawn book.
Consequently, I found out later on that it was sold out within 5 minutes each day.
Oh, wow.
To which I was like, well, screw that. I'll just get the regular copy. Because I was not that dedicated to wake up and stand in line for a book. But no, it was, I've actually, I bought that, and then I also bought, the next Life Debt.
Oh,
not Empire's End, but Life Debt, because I hadn't got around to reading it yet. We also sat in on a writer's panel. They actually had really nice writing panels.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me because they actually had quite a few of the writers at the con, which, nobody talks about. They're all like, Harrison Ford and Hayden Christensen. And it's like, yeah, Harrison Ford was there for 5 minutes. But,
yeah, he was there for 5 minutes. That's literally, he's like, hi, bye, and found his plane.
Yeah, when she flew off by himself. But yeah, Chuck Wendig was there. And,
Delia Dawson and Christy Golden also had a panel
yeah,
as well.
Christy Golden's the one I was trying to think of, but...
Yeah, so I actually sat in on her panel because I occasionally write fanfic, but I also do lots of academic writing, and lots of things that are applied to fiction writing are also very applicable to academic writing as well. Lots of just the basic habits and so forth as well. So that was really, really useful, honestly.
Okay. Cool.
So for people who don't know, usually I think at Celebration, they have these things called Star Wars Universities, where basically it's kind of like classes or lectures. So one of which was the Christy Golden panel, where basically she talks about writing. So I found that really useful, from just hearing from another writer about the craft of writing.
Honestly, if I went to Celebration, that would be my jam. Like, I would just, like, fuck the main stage. I am just gonna be doing all, like, these smaller things, so.
And honestly, those are also well attended, but they're a lot easier to get into.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they're totally worth it as well. I think there was also, like, don't quote me on this, I think there was, like, a fighting panel as well, at least on choreography and stuff.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. There was a lot of panels. I felt kind of bad that more of the other panels weren't being recorded.
Yeah.
Especially since I think of like multiple panel situations. I think of, like, Comic-Con, where they have like multiple simultaneous panels, and usually a good chunk of them are recorded, or at least you get like the main points from it and so forth. But,
oh yeah, almost every show that I'm into, like, if you buy their, season on iTunes, you get their Comic-Con panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So yeah, we went to the Christy Golden panel. Also through the Del Rey had a panel in which they had multiple people on, including Chuck Wendig and Delilah Dodson, who's writing the Phasma book.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. We also went to a panel that Pablo was on, Pablo Hidalgo.
Yes.
Which had a surprisingly long line, because I think for some reason people thought he was going to be dropping spoilers. I'm like, look, I have hit Pablo up on Twitter. He is not giving you anything.
Yeah, no, he's like Fort Knox, man. No. Trying to think if there's anything else that we would like to discuss about Celebration.
Went to a fan meetup, which was cool.
That's very cool.
The people I went with were also really cool. We're all part of a fan fiction anthology for Star Wars, so
nice.
We finally got to meet up in person. I was the shortest person. I also think I scared one of the writers who wrote for our gift exchange. I may have accidentally scared her when I met her in person, because I got one of the other mods to basically go, "Oh, she took a picture of herself and it's on Tumblr? Sweet. Hi, are you blah?" And she's like, "Oh God, who are you? You just showed up with your goon squad." I'm like, 1, they aren't my goon squad. They're just all taller than me. 2, you had your picture on Tumblr, so, like, what was I supposed to do? Say, like, no, I've never, ever met you before. I was trying to be nice. I met people who had actually read my fic, which was, like, weird.
Weird. It's always fun, though.
It's fun, but it's also like, oh God, I'm so sorry. So that was cool. Let's see. I have a really cute, adorable, like, Kylo Ren squish ball thingy that basically you can throw against the wall. It's really cute.
As he should be sometimes.
I mean, there are different ways of throwing him against the wall. Whether you want to follow him when you throw him against the wall or not. I didn't go to this panel, but they had the Star Wars Battlefront panel.
Oh, yeah.
In which, basically, Disney has conspired to get another way of getting my money. Again.
I would have got Battlefront. They had it on sale on the Origins store, but I guess it's only for PC, and I use a Mac, so I'm just like, fuck that noise.
I have a PC that I built from scratch.
Oh wow.
Because I'm that kind of sad person. I do computational work in my quote unquote real job, so I built it when I moved here for grad school. So I have a PC, and I am debating pre-ordering Battlefront, because if you pre-order it, then you get Kylo Ren's cool outfit as well as Rey's.
Yeah, and Battlefront has driven Kylo Ren fans crazy because they've given yet a third look of Kylo Ren's fucking scar.
Oh god. So I am one of those very horrible Reylo shippers. So yes, Scargate.
We have a lot of those around here.
Yeah. So Scargate has very, very much been a thing. To which I really just love Rian Johnson. I think is honestly like a sweetheart. He actually showed up the night before the Last Jedi panel and like stayed in the sleepover area where we were chilling out for like 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So there was lots of noise when someone showed up and we're like, huh? It's like, oh, it's Rian Johnson. And we're like, oh, he's probably gonna be here for like 5 minutes and then like bail. So like I fall asleep and wake up an hour later and it's like, oh god, you're still here. That's legit because you probably have like a nice hotel room. Yeah. I was too lazy to get up because my back had already adhered to the floor. But not adhered, but I was sort of like, I could move and then try and get back to sleep or like stand in a line again. I'm like, I don't want to stand in another line. Let me just like pretend to sleep. But no, he stayed for like 3 hours. So we saw the photos, like the photos where they had Phasma and Kylo.
Yeah.
During the panel. And then we also saw the teaser trailer, and people were like, oh my god, the scar. Where's the scar? Because, like, the scar is the wrong way. So there was, like, a huge, like, debate for probably, like, a good 2 or 3 days. Until finally someone went to Rian Johnson and was like, hey, so the scar, where is it? Is it a new one? He's like, I just moved it because it looked goofy.
Yeah.
People are just like, oh my god, how can... I'm just like, respect, man. I believe in aesthetics. Also, yeah. Kylo Ren also appreciates aesthetics. Like, this is very much like...
Kylo Ren's all about aesthetics, like, with that fucking mask.
I both simultaneously hate my son and also, like, I appreciate the dedication to aesthetics, okay?
Kylo Ren's scar is something else that I cover in my Last Jedi video, because I think that scar has... Honestly, if Kylo Ren wasn't going to be redeemed, he would be uglied up by that fight a lot more than he actually was. The fact that it's all, like, artful and, you know, makes him look even hotter. It's like, yeah, no, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good again.
I'm just like, oh, you just gave him to give not the, like, huge, like, CGI'd, like, scar of doom. You decided to give him, like, the tasteful, classic scar across the eye. Yeah. Almost like Grandpa. Gee, I wonder who's gonna get a redemption arc. Welp.
Basically, yeah. And I mean, like, the beauty equals goodness trope, I mean, it's not my favorite trope by any stretch of the imagination. I actually kind of hate it.
It's kind of a used up trope, but also this is Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. Star Wars has used it 1,000,000 times, and it will use it 1,000,000 more times.
So pretty much, and also, like, aesthetics, man. Aesthetics. Yeah. And also, it would have been a pain to do makeup for that, like, every day. It's like, hi, you have a cute scar. Yay.
Here, let me take this lip liner and just, like, slash it across your face.
Hi, here's also your mascara, and also here's the brush for your hair, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I was a little sad that we didn't get more scenes of Finn, because he is also my other favorite son. I have 2 sons.
I have a theory that with Finn, they are trying to keep him under wraps a little bit.
I'm leaning towards that too, because honestly, the photos that Rian Johnson had, one of them was him and Phasma on the same set, and he was wrapped in, like, a blanket or something. So either he's, like, wearing some new outfit, or he's wearing his Stormtrooper uniform or something. And I was just like, give us more, but I understand why you can't give us more, but also please give us more.
Yeah, they don't really want people to know if he's like walking. Like seriously, no, I think they want people wondering, like, was that lightsaber injury, like, bad enough that he's, like, paralyzed?
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be walking because, like, or something.
Well, I am too, but I mean, for a teaser trailer, they're like, oh, we've got to leave things mysterious, which I appreciate.
I appreciate it, but also I'm just looking at like the photos that Ryan had, and like he's obviously standing like with next to like Leia, I think, in one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he gets his like some mobility back. My key question is like, did you read Aftermath Life Depth?
Yes.
Yes. So it's not in the main book, but one of the interludes is talking to like this veteran from the war, and he gets a mobility droid essentially.
Yes.
QD9, and I was reading that the other day, and I was like, does Finn get a mobility droid? Does he get a cute droid called Cutie something? Is it like Cutie Pie? Is it like Cutie 31314, in which he called Cutie Pie? Because I'm a math nerd, and I like legit, I already now have like 300 different fanfic headcanons I can now make. But does he get a cute droid as well? Do we all get cute droids? Ooh, one of the really cool things they had, along with all the cosplayers, is they had a droid parade from like the droid builder groups and so forth. So yes, there were cute droids. They had a chopper. They had R2-D2s because people are not creative. They had a steampunk one.
Nice. Of course, but still cool.
That is still cool, actually. I think someone had done like a BB-8. And I was just like, more cute droids, because I like Kylo, am very big on aesthetics.
Okay, so we should be wrapping this up now, I think.
Okay.
So, any final thoughts on Celebration other than, long waits and hard ground?
So, sadly, on the closing panel, which I did not attend, I watched from my Airbnb in like my comfy clothes and pajamas, with my nice laptop. I wish they had released the location for Celebration 2019, because I think 2 years is enough time to like convince my back that yes, sleeping on the floor was totally okay. Rumors have it. Majority of rumors are like it's all but official. It's going to be in Anaheim.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah,
primarily I think when I was talking both to my friend as well as one of the droid builder people, is the main determining factor is whether I think it's like Star Wars Land or something is going to be open or not.
Yeah.
In time, in which I know for Celebration they had a Galactic Nights thing in which basically you could be running around in cosplay at Disney World. Disney World? Is it Disney World? One of the Disneys in Orlando. So if the park is like going on schedule, etc., what would be cool is if they had like a soft opening or something. Yeah. As my friend Jen told me, it's like have a soft opening for like the Celebration people, or something along that line. So here, fingers crossing that maybe it's Anaheim.
Yeah.
In which then I have time to like convince myself that no, sleeping on the floor is totally good for you.
Okay, so thank you for joining us and
thank
giving
you for
us
having
your
me.
Perspective on this. So I think that's it for Star Wars Celebration.
Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time.
I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care. I love it. I don't care.
Star Wars has lent itself to many fan parodies, but few are as elaborate as this one. Palette Swap Ninja on YouTube has recreated the entirety of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band, retelling the story of Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope as Princess Leia's stolen Death Star plans. Here is a clip from the title song.
It was many years ago today, in a galaxy so far away. It's a period of civil war. They don't want the Empire anymore. The rebels made a daring move. They got some data in their hands. Princess Leia stole a Death Star plans.
Other tracks include Imperial Holes, Being from the Spaceport of Mos Eisley, The Force Within You, and A Day in the Life of Red 5. This is a pitch-perfect parody of both Sgt. Pepper and Star Wars. Even Mark Hamill, a noted Beatles nerd, tweeted about this. Go check it out.
I'm a 90s bitch. I love it.
So that was our discussion on the Star Wars Celebration. Yay!
Yay! I hate that I missed so much of it. I'm just... So we realized we should probably explain, because I know our schedule has been like totally erratic lately.
Yeah.
And part of that is because I am moving, as some of you may have heard I just moved and I'm moving again. Some of you may have heard on my Tumblr, just a week or so ago, I moved out of an apartment where I lived for 6 years, and I'm staying where I'm at now for a month, and then I am moving to Canada.
Yay!
I am going to be not very far at all from MC.
Yeah. I don't think anybody actually knew I was from Canada, so, I mean, yes, I am the resident Canadian. But soon
But
I will
not
not be
for
the
long.
resident Canadian, because there will be another Canadian, or at least, a permanent resident, so.
Hopefully. But that's another story. So we're planning some fun things, since we'll actually be like relatively close to each other. We're already plotting what we're going to do for The Last Jedi.
Yes.
I
know a couple of movie theaters that are kind of halfway between where you live and where I live. So.
We'll have to meet up and see it together and then record something.
So then we'll like record a podcast from the parking lot.
Live to you from the movie theater parking lot.
Deafening squeeing.
So that's why we've been a little bit erratic. It's entirely me.
Well, it's also April, who was not on this month's podcast,
because
but
she is moving.
April, she's moving like halfway across the country. So
both of us are making some pretty big. I'm not moving that far physically, but yeah, it's across an international border, so that's kind of a thing. And then April, she's moving all the way across the country. So
yes, so there's lots of moving going on.
And hopefully we will be back to normal very soon now.
Yes.
Well, we don't have any mail this month. Guys.
Please write us. We love you, and we want to, talk about, all of the, vehicles that you can fuck in.
Well, actually, I want to hear, write to us and tell us what you thought about the trailer, because I know
yes, please,
a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it, and tell us. We want to hear. We want to talk about it. Or
tell us about your favorite part of Celebration.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Because there was a lot of different stuff going on. Maybe you liked Ray Park being completely adorkable during his panel.
Oh, and if anybody was there and actually saw Garrick Hagan, because, I've only seen 2 pictures of him the entire time he was there. So if you saw him, if you went to his panel, please tell me. I need to find out about this vicariously.
Yeah, no, I mean, anything Star Wars related, feel free to email us. We're on Tumblr at trashcompactorpodcast.tumblr.com, Twitter at swtrashpodcast, our website, trashcompactorpodcast.com, or email the trashcompactorpodcast at gmail.com.
So that's it for this month. And...
Yes. And we will be back next month. We will, try our best to be back.
Hopefully back on schedule.
Yes. So see you guys then.
Yep, see ya.